Question number 6. A solutions architect is designing a web application that experiences seasonal traffic. To optimize costs, which combination of AWS services should be used for compute resources? We're going to select 2 answers out of our possible 5. So we're looking for compute capabilities. We want to be able to run applications in a way that optimizes our costs in an environment that experiences seasonal traffic. Well, what do we mean by seasonal? I think it means that during certain times of year, there's a lot of demand, and other times of year, there's not so much. And then in other seasons, it's high again. So our challenge is to provide both for the steady state demand that we get all the time, plus to provide support for the spikes of traffic that we get during particular seasons of the year. On-demand instances is a theoretical possible option for the variable demand that comes with seasons. On-demand lets us turn on compute power when we need it, turn it off when we don't need it, and stop paying for it. That latter part will be a nice benefit when we're in the slow season and we don't want to have any additional compute power running above what we need all year round. The challenge with on-demand is it's the most expensive of the on-demand options. There are other solutions when I need to turn on compute power temporarily that might be cheaper. Reserved instances is definitely a candidate idea for handling the all-year-long demand. Reserved instances pre-commit to use of a particular quantity of compute power for the next year or maybe even 3 years of use. It always comes with a pre-commitment. It might come with a prepayment if you choose to do it that way. A related idea not pictured here is the AWS savings plans, which provide a very similar pricing structure to reserved instances. But that's not an option in this question, so we can ignore that for the moment. AWS Lambda is the third option, but we're told that we're designing a web application. Lambda functions might provide some back-end support for certain kinds of web applications, but if we're trying to support, for example, a web server, probably a full-fledged EC2 instance is going to be our right choice. So Lambda, while tempting, is probably not what we're looking for. That leaves EC2 spot instances and EC2 dedicated hosts. Dedicated hosts are a very expensive solution reserved for situations where I need to be able to claim the use of a whole physical server in AWS's data center, knowing that I can remove all of my workload instances from it and then go back to that same physical server in the future. It's somewhat rare to need that. There are certain pieces of software that imprint on a physical server and want to use that same physical server only in the future. So we might use dedicated hosts for that. That's not present here, so that's definitely not what we're looking for. And that leaves Spot. Spot instances work a lot like on-demand instances, in as much as I can turn them on and off at will. Importantly, Spot instances are dramatically cheaper than on-demand instances. They use surplus hardware at AWS to provide support for temporary workloads that are interruptible, where it's okay for the EC2 service to reclaim some instances every once in a while if they're in demand for some other on-demand usage. In this circumstance, we could consider using Spot instances for some or all of these seasonal rises in demand, probably in conjunction with the Spot Fleet capability that allows me to have multiple instance types that I can draw from, where I can get that complete set of instances running in Spot pricing that I need for my workload. So in this case, EC2 reserved instances in conjunction with Spot instances will provide support for our baseline demand throughout the year, plus the seasonal demand that rises and falls.